Yeah, good day everyone. I hope you're all doing great and welcome to our DevStream. First of all, thank you all for joining in. My name is Dark Q, or you can just call me Q. I'm the creator of the Rakenzarn games. And here are my fellow team members. Blazer, Invisible Stars, Ataralis, and Allura. Yeah, with that said, let's get started. So this is going to be a short stream. The purpose of the stream is to showcase the updates on Q's route for Rakenzarn Tales here. So we're still working on it, but we're getting there. We like to present the live gameplay on two parts on Chapter 1-1, showcase some of the new custom assets, and then we can end it with a 20-minute Q&A panel. And don't worry, for those who pretty much missed out the streaming, we've got that covered. Yeah, so for the first part, let's get it on. Okay, can everyone see the gameplay here? If you can, just send a message here. Chat. Okay, yes. Okay, that's good to hear. All right. Okay, so for the first part, we'd like to showcase one of the earlier cutscenes, but before that, let's take a look at Denseltown. Now, in Q's route, the Nazi Guild is not available, as you can see right here. And pretty much established that the guild here is going to be like, well, for the lack of better, the hub. In Q's route, however, it's the other building over here, the Konosuke Detective Agency. Well, let's take a look inside. So, let's go through here. This is the map for the Detective Agency. As you can see, it's much messier than the Nazi Guild. So one of the challenges we have to go through, it's giving the NPCs different dialogues. So some of the NPCs share the same dialogue or reaction on both routes. Some don't, like this NPC for example. In Kiros' route, the NPC here will mention that the building up here, it belongs to the Nazi Guild. But in Q's route, however, he flat out says that the building is, well, occupied by two ducks, to which we'll get into that right away. Let's open a different save file here. And finally, and this is one of the early cutscenes. Think of it as a little preview as to what to expect in Q's route. Okay, here I'm gonna be a bit silent here and let the cutscene play out. Okay, I think we can stop it from here, and we can switch to the second part of the live gameplay. I do hope you like what you're seeing so far. Let's load to another save file. And now we're looking through the Gallons Plain in Q's route. So the maps are still pretty much the same as Kiros's route, with a few differences. Like, for example, right here, specifically the mini-boss. So in Q's route, in Kiros's route, the mini-boss here in this area is the Hammer Bros from Super Mario Bros. But in Q's route, is an OC I kinda introduced months ago. Enter Lilin. Now, due to some changes in the story writing, Lilin here will pretty much appear earlier in Q's route than Kiros's route. And considering that this is the first time we meet Lilin, we don't know her name. And yes, Q's incarnation in this version is going to be much closer to his, well, anime and manga counterpart. Also, pay close attention to the dialogue. So, one of the returning features from the previous versions, it's the different variants when you complete a certain requirement. So, notice how Lilin brags that she'll beat the party under 4 minutes, right? So, turns out she means it by turns. Like, she's confident that she'll beat the whole party under 4 turns. So, without spoiling too much with this mini boss fight, we'll just switch it to a couple of pre-recorded videos here. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Can you all see it? Alrighty, here it is. Wait, let me up the volume first. This is when you defeat Lilin the normal way. Okay, and this is when you defeat Lilin on a special requirement. Yeah, her dialogue changes if you manage to beat her under 4 turns. Player performances do affect the story flow, pretty much giving you different reactions from different characters or different dialogue. In this case, it's how Lilin reacts to the party. Like if you beat her normally, as in like more than 4 turns have passed, she takes the loss well. But if you manage to beat her under 4 turns, however, she's shocked, like completely dumbfounded that that the party beats her so fast. So there are a lot of scenarios like this in the future. The benefits behind these performance outcomes? Well, you'll just have to wait and play yourself. And that's the end of the first session. Now let's move on to the second session. I'd like to show everyone the custom assets for the game. Well, we're still making more, but we got these for the next version. Okay, here's one of them. This is Azuma Konosuke. He's from the same series as Q, Tantei Gakuan Q, or translated as Detective School Q. So, what's very interesting about this guy, he doesn't appear in the anime. He only appears in the manga, debuting in chapter 125. He is kind of a minor character in said manga, just appear only in one case as a major figurehead. Here in Rakenzarn Tales, he gets a much bigger role and a slightly altered backstory that ties up with the world of Rakenzarn. So, due to his status in his home series, we couldn't find the proper image we could use as his face set, let alone with, well, official colors. So here it is. We got his custom image, his idle expression, his shocked expression, and his, well, happy-go-lucky expression. And here we have his sprite. Next, returning from the previous version, it is Kanan from Umineko, and this is his journal entry. So in the new version here, he gets, well, a major makeover. Specifically, a new outfit. Well, this is mostly for story reasons, since his background in Rakenzarn Tales is also altered. And this is his, well, sprite, and his hooded sprite. And from the previous version, Axel Akamura. So yeah, Axel will return in both routes in chapter 1-2. Pretty much got his own custom face sets. Here, his idle expression, his serious expression, and his, well, angry expression. So that's what we can offer that's all we can showcase with the custom images. I mean, the custom assets. Sorry. Version 4.1.2 will contain chapter 1-1 on Q's route, plus an extra scenario exclusive for Kiros's route, and the plan for release, it will be on February 4, 2022. And that's pretty much the end of our second session. We can move on to the third session, the Q&A panel.
Hello, hello.
Oh, hey there,
Can you hear me?
hey there, Bar
Q?
Blazer.
All right.
Hey there, Bar Blazer.
Just call me Blazer. Well, here.
Okay, Blazer it is.
So yeah. Meanwhile, anyone else who wants to post a question, go ahead, and we'll definitely answer it as best as we can. Meanwhile, I think I'd like to ask a couple of questions so we can reveal more of the process of development of Rakenzarn Tales to everyone who's here. So the topic I'd like to talk about is how do you select characters to include in Rakenzarn Tales? Let's start with the playable characters or the party members.
Well, it's kind of complicated. That really depends on, let's say, well, the role as main characters. What they can bring into to what they can bring into the table, their abilities, and how and the impact they can, well, the impact they give, specifically, specifically the not just the main characters, but we're also open for like the minor characters, specifically if they're, well, fan favorites.
I see, I see. So besides
Yep.
popularity, it's also depending on their character and their ability
Mm-hmm.
that they bring to the party. Is that about right?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So far, you have planned quite a lot of characters ready, right, for the party members?
Yep. About 90 party members. I would say, in all technical side, it's pretty much 140 party members, 90 who are playable, and 50 being, well, assist. Kind of like summons, but pretty much as pretty much become part of the skill set for
I
a party
see.
member.
All right,
Um,
so there's a lot of slots for our favorite characters to go in as playable characters, it seems. How
yep.
about the non-playable characters?
The non-playable characters, pretty much the same. Well, the same process as the main as the playable characters. Let's see their character interactions, like how they would react to the story flow within the world of Rakenzarn, their role from their home series. Like, would they make some sort of impact? Would they be able to play some kind of role to the game, whether they be like major or minor. On the minor side, it's like in side quests for, well, like how much they can entertain the players.
I see. All right. So how do you determine which franchises to enter and which ones usually don't make the cut?
Yeah, that one's kind of difficult. That really depends on how familiar my co-creator and I are familiar with those franchises, and not to mention the specific theme, whether or not they fit with the storybook aspect of Rakenzarn Tales. Like each Rakenzarn game has like a specific aspect. Like Rakenzarn Frontier Story, it's the multiple alternate realities. Rakenzarn Seigi, it's a tokusatsu or superhero genre. In Rakenzarn Tales, it's pretty much the fantasy aspect, the fantasy aspect, and also includes the modern, something like a modern theme with some fantasy aspect.
All right.
If
So
if, if that makes sense.
hmm, so in Rakenzan Tales, it's a lot more on the fantasy side, but also a splash of the modern fantasy side as well.
Hmm.
Good.
Yeah, we also pretty much include some, well, superhero stuff, but I trust my co-creator to help out with that, because he's much more familiar with the superhero genre more than I do, and specifically knows which one would fit.
All right. How about for villains? Do you have any specific scenarios when you're looking for villains? Since this is a crossover,
Hmm.
so
Well,
each villain needs to serve a certain purpose, wouldn't it?
yeah. The criteria for choosing the villains here, it's how they for the okay for the villains, it's how they're connected with certain party members. Like, for example, Mario and Sonic, since they're part of the party, especially since they've been around since the very first version. So the villains have to be chosen from them, like the main villains, their personal main villains, like Bowser and Dr. Eggman.
So it would be interesting to see not just between the heroes and villains of the same series, but
Hmm.
also how fellow party members may draw some similarities between the villains of their own series and of their fellow members' series as well. I see. All right.
Yeah.
How about the NPCs, the quests, and the storyline? How much do you include the characters of the original, uh, characters and villains in the storyline?
Um, I'm sorry. I don't quite get that. You mean the original characters or the crossover characters?
Mm. Since this is a crossover from multiple sources, these
Hmm.
characters they're not exactly following the original sources since it's an original story, right?
For the most part, yes. Like, some of their source materials will still happen here in Rakenzarn Tales, in the world of Rakenzarn. except it has been like slightly altered to make the connection slightly altered. It,
Hmm.
but yes, it's pretty much follow like an original storyline.
All right. So they're following an original storyline, and the alterations are just about as needed for them to fit in the universe. Something about that line?
Yeah, like the sources are still there. The main sources from their respective home series are still there, just slightly altered to better fit with Rakenzarn, especially that it's not just one like one or like two or three crossovers merging here, but like multiples, multiple, like say like for example, Sonic Lost World, the events of Sonic Lost World kind of happen in Ragnar, except there's the addition of other heroes that join the fray.
All right, I see, I see. Maybe last question from me is, what if one of our audiences would like their characters to be included? Would there be any process for that, or would the writing of the story not leave a lot of flexibility for that?
About that one is kind of hard to answer. I kind of need my co-creator with me to explain the process, because that one is actually much more complicated than the crossover ones. And but considering that he's and considering that he couldn't make, well hasn't show, has couldn't make it, I think we can save that for another time.
All right. So yeah, the process of selection is quite tight. There's a lot of evaluation, but this is also uh, made so that the characters that are selected are properly fitting in the universe and also a proper representation of their original source. If I'm not mistaken, something along those lines.
Yeah, something along those lines. And
All
the
right.
challenging part, yeah, and the challenging part, it's how to keep their characters well in character. Well, which is why we have to familiarize with those series. For example, the manga Negima. Well, my co-creator, he's a huge fan of that manga series. So whenever I'm working on one of the characters' dialogues and how they would react to certain events in Rakenzarn, he would well help out to see if this is how they would react, or if not if not he would pretty much help out by well fixing it, like no Q, no, this isn't how she would react. She would react by saying this, or that. And also no, this she wouldn't say something like this, or he wouldn't say something like this. He would say this and that sort of jazz.
All right. All right. So
Yeah,
yeah.
everyone in the team got each other's back. Especially my co-creator. Well, I wouldn't be here without him. He always has my back since the beginning. He's a
All
great
right.
guy.
Mm-mm. So yeah, as you can hear, there's a lot of evaluation and testing, not just testing, but also writing and checking quality and making sure that we're sticking to the sources. So it's not just something that is boring the skin of another character. All
Pretty
right.
much.
So I think that would wrap up my
Okay.
questions.
Thank you for your asking me, Bar Blazer.
All right.
All right.
I guess we can continue on with our next parts, right, Q?
Yep. The next one here. So that's pretty much the end of the third section. And with that said, we're pretty much done. Once again, thank you all for coming. Thank you for um, joining in Team Rakenzarn's very first dev streaming. Now, and I do hope that all of you who could join Well, look forward for the next dev stream. I almost forgot. Before we go, we have something to show you. Please take a look. And there we go. That's all we can offer for today. I hope you all enjoyed the dev stream. Thank you for joining in. Signing off.